All right, guys. Now, subtracting integers, right? So we've talked about everything else when it comes to adding, subtracting, number line, t-chart when it comes to adding. Now you're going to see a lot of the same kind of stuff just kind of put together. All right, so subtracting integers using a t-chart. Okay, in your book on this lesson, they do give you one word or phrase, vocab phrase here, and that is inductive reasoning. Everyone?
Inductive reasoning.
All right, so in your notes, your book will say it's making a conjecture based on a pattern of examples or past events. Okay, here's what the book's talking about. I've already taught you this. Okay, I noticed when doing my homework, when you're adding two negatives, your answer is going to be negative. So it's something like that. It's patterns in your work that is consistent patterns, that you can create consistent true rules or properties. Okay. So that's kind of what you need to start doing whenever you're using your t-charts. We start off with t-charts where you don't have to do the inductive reasoning, but then your brain should be finding out patterns using the t-chart. That way you don't have to use t-charts anymore. Okay? So t-chart's just more of a tool, an extra tool to help you get there. Okay? All right, questions? Okay. Okay, here we go. Example. So, go ahead and grab a piece of paper. So much paper used. Working you guys so hard. Here we go. Flip your book page over to 65. 65. Book page over to page 65. All right, up at the top of your paper. Okay. First, last name, period, date, page number, page 65. Put your assignment number on there. You know, all the good stuff that you guys always do. Okay, here we go. Let's start off with problem number 4. Okay, problem 4, by the way, it says find each difference. Those are the directions. So problem number 4 in your book is asking you what is negative 7 minus negative 11. Negative 7 minus negative 11. Okay, so very similar to when I taught you subtraction of integers using a number line, we're going to use the same steps. I'm going to probably be a little more vague on these steps because I've already taught you most of these steps on adding using a t-chart. But I am going to point out one significant thing. You probably already see it. So step 1, we can put a little star by step 1 because this is the main difference between subtraction and addition of integers, and that is we have a double negative in here, right? We talked about it. Double negative, subtraction of a negative number. So remember, if that subtraction sign and that negative number is right next to each other with no number between it, parentheses may be between it, but if there's no number between it, you create a big plus sign, because remember, negative 7 minus negative 11 is the same as negative 7 plus positive 11. Okay, step 2, circle your integers. Circle your integers with the sign in front. So 7 has a negative to the left, I circle it. 11 has now our new positive in front of it. So I circle 11 with the positive. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Step 3, I'm just going to make one big step and say, now that we've been working on T-charts, complete the problem using a T-chart and its rules. So here we go. T-chart, right? A positive side, a negative side. 7 is on the negative side. 11 is on the positive side. Remember, if it's the same side, we add them. In this case, they're different sides. So I'm going to subtract. So I bring the number that has a smaller absolute value underneath. So 11 minus 7 gives us 4. And remember, use the sign up above. And so since we're on the positive side, it's a positive 4. Our answer, negative 7 minus negative 11 is positive 4. Okay, questions on that one? Okay, go ahead then, and I want you to try out problem number 12 on the same page. Go, problem number 12. Yep. Pretty good read. Okay. Okay. Yep. Well, yeah, Jack is going to call mom after school today, so I do have yard duty though, so if we can talk to you in the meeting, I have it out in front of breaking in the yard. Okay, all right, I appreciate it. Thanks. Bye. Okay, anyone need more time? I think we're good. That was going off for a while, right? 30 seconds. Go ahead, turn to your neighbor and share. Go. All right, guys, here we go. Page 65, problem number 12. Guys, we're gonna still do all the problems. I'm gonna pick up the pace. So if you have questions, feel free to write them down. See me right after class, and I'll help you out. Okay. So here we go. 65, problem number 12 was negative 15 minus negative 6. All right. So here we go. Step 1. Subtraction of a negative number. It's a double negative. I'm just going to get rid of it by creating a big positive. Big addition sign. So here we go. I then circle my integers. I have a negative 15 and a positive 6. So when I build my T-chart, I have 15 on the negative side, 6 on the positive side. Different sides I subtract, get 9. And it's on the negative side, so our answer is negative 9. Subtracting a negative 6 was the original question. So we just made we got rid of the double negative by making it a big plus sign. Okay, here we go. Let's go ahead. Let's take a look at problem number 2. Problem number 2. We have negative 10 minus 14. Negative 10 minus 14. So here we go. Step 1, get rid of double negatives. There are none, right? If I was to connect those two, it's going to go right through the 10. That's because it's not a double negative. I'm then going to go ahead and circle my integers with those signs in front. So 10 goes with that negative sign there. 14 goes with the subtraction sign there. So when I build my T-chart, put 10 on the negative side, 14 on the negative side. And of course, they're on the same side. So I add them up. I get 24. It's on the negative side, so our answer is negative 24. If you have questions, write it down. Okay, we'll talk about it. Okay. Okay, I'll actually swing by right now while you're working on it. So 30 seconds, guys. Here's the one I want you to try out. Problem number 16. Go. 16. Okay, anyone need more time? Okay, I'll give you guys about 15 more seconds. Again, those of you that finish that fairly quickly, you could do some of the others off of your homework that are very similar. Okay, go ahead and turn to your neighbor. 30 seconds. Go ahead and share. Go.
I got negative 7.
If you'd like, yeah. Okay, here we go. Problem number 16 was negative 9 minus 3. Negative 9 minus 3, I go ahead, no double negatives. I circle the negative 9 in the subtraction of 3. Build my T-chart. 9 and 3 are both negatives. I put them on the negative side. Add them up. 9 plus 3 is 12. It's on the negative side, so our answer is negative 12. Okay. All right, there is the next type of problem. If you take a look on page 65 is number 6. Okay. This one's worded a little differently. Okay, it's the directions. Well, first of all, number 6 is, it gives you just two integers, negative 8 and positive 8. So the directions say, find the distance between each pair of integers. Guys, take a look at the number line. Let's go to the positive side, the blue side, right? How far is it between 5 and 7 up there? Can you just count 1, 2, right? How about between 12 and 15? 3. Okay, you could just count, right? But what if I say, guys, what's the distance between 5 and 26? I heard 21. How did you figure that out? You subtract, right? So when you're finding the distance between two numbers, I mean, you can count on a number line, but when it's either far apart or you don't even have a number line in front of you or whatever else, all you do is you subtract when you're finding the distance between two things. Okay, you find the distance, it's finding the difference in their locations. Okay, so in this case, here's what you do. Step 1, you're pretty much just, ultimately all you're doing is you're just changing the n to a subtraction sign. You have your two integers, right? Negative 8 and positive 8. And you're finding the distance between the two, so you're just subtracting them, just like you guys said. And there's our problem. And at this point, I'll just say step 2 is to solve it. So we just do the same thing we've been doing. So here we go. I go ahead, circle my 8 with the negative. I circle my 8 with a subtraction sign. If I build my t-chart, they're both negatives. And by now, hopefully you're getting the idea of this. They're on the same side, so we add them up. And it's on the negative side. Guys, if you forget the negative there, for example, on any of these problems, it will be wrong, right? 16 and negative 16 are two different numbers, so you can't forget the negative. Okay, so make sure on the t-chart, that's the only thing you got to watch for. So 16, or negative in this case, negative 16. Okay? So actually, though, it does say, sorry, my fault, this would be the equation, right? Let's think of the context of the problem, though. What's going back to the question? We're talking like absolute value. I just talked about this the other day. When it's asking about the distance between two things, remember, did I do it in this class? I'm 2 feet away from the desk here. Am I like negative 2 feet now? No, right? You're not negative distance of anything. So that's where absolute value comes in. So in this case, numerically, we're negative 16 when it comes to the equation, but it's really asking you what's the absolute value of negative 16, so it is 16. Or if you want to put 16 units, because that's what we're looking at here, 16 units in distance, that's fine as well. Okay? All right, here's one I want you guys to try. 28. Try 28. All right? I'll check in with you guys in 30 seconds. Go. Anyone need more time on that one? Okay. I'll check in with you guys about 20 more seconds. Again, those of you that want to, you can go ahead and continue working on some of the other problems. Okay. All right, 30 seconds. Turn to your neighbor and share. Go. Okay, here we go. So it's remember, the whole point of this part of the lesson is finding the distance between the two. So remember, you guys said it yourself. I mean, if you're finding the distance between two numbers, any numbers on the number line, you're subtracting the two of them. So what we have here is we have negative 6 and positive 12, but we are subtracting the two integers. So I put my subtraction sign there. So numerically, it's saying negative 6 minus 12. So what do? We turn around. We could circle our integers, build our t-charts. They're both negative. Since they're on the same side, we add them up. It's a negative 18, right? But remember what we talked about. Because it's the distance, okay, they would be 18 units apart from each other. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at the last type of problem. Here we go. Problem number 8. We'll see if we have a chance to try out 32, but let's at least do number 8. Problem number 8. Okay, we have a word problem. Okay, I have no idea what that person's name is. I think it's Mora. Mora dug a hole 2 feet deep to transplant a shrub. The shrub stands 3 foot above the ground. Write an expression to find the distance from the bottom of the hole to the top of the shrub. What's the distance? So basically, it's kind of like our last lesson, word problems. But the difference, of course, is we have some positive and negative values. All right. So, I mean, listen, if you wanted to, you can like draw a diagram to kind of see. You guys like my artwork? And then this hole that they dug under where all the roots are and where it went down is down there. So they want to know what's the distance between the bottom of the hole and the top of the shrub. Okay, so here we go. Bottom line is this. Remember, it's the same kind of idea. The first thing is they give you an original location. In this case, they dug a hole 2 feet deep. The 2 feet deep underground is represented by a -2. Then it says the shrub stands 3 feet above the ground. They actually they're nice and say the word above, kind of giving you a hint. That is represented by a +3. So they dug a hole -2 feet below. That's what the negative is. The shrub stands at its peak at 3 feet above the ground. That's positive. So it says, write an expression to find the distance from the bottom of the hole to the top of the shrub. Here's your expression. That, with what we've just been saying, subtract the 2 to find the distance between the two. There's your expression. So realistically, the way that's worded, that would be part of the answer because they want to know your expression. And then, sorry, I kind of lost that on step. Step 1 was we found the original, right? Step 2 is we then gave the value +3 of the next part. And then, of course, step 3 is because they're asking about the distance, you're including the subtraction sign, finding the distance, subtracting the 2 integers. So here we go. Step 4, let's go ahead and solve. So, -2 minus 3. When I circle them, they end up, when we're combining them, they end up having both a negative value. So, 2 and 3 end up on the same side. We add them up. Remember, the numerical answer is -5, but it says, what's the distance? Don't put 5 units. Why? Because they give you the units here. What are the units, guys? Yeah, feet. 5 feet is our answer. Don't use the generic word units when you're talking about a number line. It's specifically feet. 5 feet is the distance between the two. Okay, questions? Okay.